Mic check, mic check, mic check. Mic check, mic check, mic check. Let me get it right. Mic check, mic check, mic check. Morning Masters Podcast was made, of course. Look, man, first of all, I want to thank all the supporters, all the listeners, everybody who shared the podcast, anybody who listened to the podcast on a consistent basis, every now and then, whatever. Shout out to all the shares and the dope feedback and support I got during the Band of Brothers Juneteenth promotion. It was a lot of support. Shout out to y'all. I didn't mention this last time, but one of the things I'm really that really makes me feel accomplished about some of the things I'm doing is I set out a goal during the week I was doing the Juneteenth events, right? I set out a goal on like a Monday or a Tuesday, and I was like, by Friday I want to get to 3,000 page likes on More Than the Masters on Facebook. And I think I might have had 77 to go or 73 to go. And no lie, in like a day, I got it. It might be less than 24 hours, but I got it before the next day, So shout out to y'all, man. Setting small-term goals is definitely a big deal for me. And I would advise anybody to set small/short-term goals just to kind of keep making headway little by little, But definitely shout out to all the viewers, listeners, supporters, anybody who share the podcast, fan of the podcast. I get a lot of love from family members and from strangers and from people I just know, people I don't know but feel like they know me through social media. Like, it's a good thing, I'm not going to lie. And I never would have thought that I would be the one to get that type of love, honestly. Like, you would never told me 2, 5, 6 years ago that I would be getting this type of love and feedback from people. I would have said, nah, not me, So shout out to y'all for that. So today's another thing out loud, of course, but I wanted to speak about somebody and something that's near and dear to me. So last year, when I had the first time I really experienced like family, real, like close to heart, close to home death, was my uncle, my favorite uncle, my mother's brother, Uncle Carl. He's on the podcast. I got an episode with him. I'll probably put that in the description so you can go listen to it. Dope episode, dope individual. And that hurt a lot. Like, it hurt a lot, right? So I remember talking about him on camera and doing a little video, just kind of giving my words and how I felt about the person. And I'm not sure I was doing Thinking Out Loud yet, but I've always been the type of person, honestly. Before I did Thinking Out Loud, I always had, you've seen the videos last episode, I've always had these little one-offs where I get personal with certain stories and certain parts of my life. It's always been a good outlet for me to use social media, use the platform I have, use my voice to kind of just vent. And it's like some people use diaries. I don't like to write. I don't know. My hands, they ain't the same from the 90s. I don't know. 90s I can write all day. I can't. I hate doing signatures right now, so I can't do nothing. So I like to talk, and that's what I've done. That's what I did. And I was a little worried about doing one for my grandmother, right? Because it's so new. This hurt 10/100 times more, and it's still fresh. Like, literally today, I buried my grandmother, right? Today was a funeral. But I want to speak on her and on things, and just to clear the air. It's just something I want to do. Honestly, I'm going to be honest with y'all. Be 100 with my listeners. I had another episode lined up today. Things didn't go where it's supposed to go, but we hope we can get it done tomorrow, and then we'll see. So, as you all know, Wednesday before last, my grandmother passed away. Okay, so my grandma was a good lady. Now, I'm not saying that she was my grandmother. She just really was a good lady. Like, honestly, like, she never got into a fight, which is like odd to me. But that was one thing. Like, that was like a fact of Ruth. She never got into a fight. She didn't fight. She wasn't an ass, but she didn't fight. So just about her, like, she had 7 kids. My grandma had 7 kids. That's crazy. I got 2, and I just can't see how people do it. Anything over 4 is just, I don't know. I feel like, ooh, 7 kids is a lot, right? And it grew up in a time where things is rough, you know what I'm saying? Grew up in the 30s, things was rough. From Augusta, Georgia, which is why we are here. She's from here, so she retired, came back. But to give you a little bit about her background, 7 kids, worked her ass off, didn't finish school, worked her ass off, moved to New York, worked, tied in 98, 97, bought a house in Augusta, and lived the rest of her life back at home, like in Augusta. Like, it sounds very typical, mundane, American dream type of deal, but it's always admirable when I tell that story because a lot of us, we can't even stay at a job enough to retire. We can't even stack enough to retire or do this enough to retire. So for her to do that, buy a home and do what she did, I always felt like she's an amazing woman for that, right? But I want to go a little bit further into my grandmother without telling too much of other people's business that haven't told their story, right? The thing with my grandma was my bedtime thing came on and says I need to be in bed 10 p.m. every night. I never made it yet. But the thing with my grandmother is that some of the things I thought was dope was not only did she raise seven of her own kids rather, she raised some of her kids, and I always commend grandmas that do that. They'll raise their kids and turn around and raise their kids' sometimes depending on circumstances. Now, for my grandmother, something was said today at the funeral, which I took away and I thought that was the dopest thing. And I'll just be frank with y'all, right? My grandmother passing, the day she passed, that was hard. That was a hard day, right? So emotionally, it was tough to hold things in. I don't nap. I don't lay down like that. Anybody know me? I don't nap. I don't lay down. That morning, it was tough. It was tough. I don't know if I want to get into that, but it was tough, right? So it was tough a few days. Honestly, it was a few days I caught myself, just walking past the room and because I'm there. Like I was literally there with her. You know what I'm saying? I'm there. It was tough. So we get past that. The viewing was tough. That was tough. It was tough. But I will say the funeral wasn't. But I thought it was gonna be the toughest, but it wasn't the toughest. There's a lot of things they don't do no more at funerals due to COVID, so that took away from it. And honestly, I'm the type of person, I'm be honest with y'all, I can't get into. If you personally know me, I'll probably talk about it with you. If you personally know me, or if I feel like you of that elk to discuss some kind of things. But I'm real big on keeping consistency with the things, my ideologies. And one of my ideologies right now is to not make something about you. So because this particular event or just thing that's happening is bigger than Jermaine. Jermaine not gonna share his opinions on certain things because it's bigger than me. It's bigger than how I feel about something, right? So, yeah, I'll say that to say at least that the funeral just it had its reasons why it didn't feel so emotional, right? Which is a good thing to me. I didn't, but I still had some emotion, right? So to get what I was gonna say is my cousin. I'm gonna say her ghetto name. Then I'm gonna say her real name. My cousin Pookie. All right, but her name is Adrian, and she at the end she said a poem, but she talked about her, and she said something. It's a church, mind you, it's a church people around. She goes, we can all agree that Jesus is our Lord and Savior. However, and she pointed at the picture of my grandmother, and she was like, "That's my Savior right there." And it was at that moment that I realized, and I've talked about this plenty of times to people, but it was at that moment that I realized, like, yo. Like, damn, like, grandma really did save an ass of people. Like, and I started thinking about the things she did, the people she took in, the people that she took from, like, hey, it's not working here. I'm going to take you in. I'm going to add onto my plate. I'm going to take you in. I'm going to bring you in this 2-bedroom apartment I got, even though it's full here, but I'm going to bring you in and give you love because you're not getting it there. I'm going to bring you in and show you how to cook, show you how to be a woman, show you how to clean, show you how to carry yourself. These are people that aren't her kids, but she's being a mom to them, not just a grandma, but a mom to them. I've spoken about it plenty of times. Like, I got grandma all my life through my grandmother. I never had to get the mother part because my mother was always there. Everybody in the family don't have that situation. It's a lot of, when you think about drugs in the 70s and the 80s with crack or heroin and things of that nature, a lot of my family members did succumb to those type of things. And when that happened, or they just couldn't really take care of certain things, when it happened, my grandma stepped in, pulled them in. Some of my family that live in New York right now, or that lived in New York when I met them, I never knew they was not from New York. Like, I could never have guessed that. But when I got older and hearing the stories of how they migrated here and how they got here, and it's like, damn, okay, grandma did that. Okay, damn, grandma did that. My 2 cousins, Pop and Kasha, I just had an episode with my cousin Pop. It's only audio, so if you see the audio version, you can listen to the podcast. But I'm doing with him and his sister, they Uncle Carl. I said at the beginning, my uncle. that's their dad. That's their dad, and he was on drugs heavy, and my grandmother decided to adopt them two. Easily could have let them go in the system, split them up, but no, we gonna keep the family together. Y'all can come with me, and they never got grandma. They got mom. Yes, on paper it's their grandmother, but that was their mom. They got mom from my grandmother, right? But I said to say that's just the kind of person she was. She was just selfless like that and helpful like that. Like she was nice. Don't get me wrong. But my grandma, did she have mean ways? I mean, I never saw it. I'm not gonna lie. Like she's never been mean to me. Like I don't think she even told me no. And I'm not exaggerating. But I know that she could turn up if she need to. You know what I'm saying? I know when things ain't going her way. I know she gonna step. So, yeah. But I never experienced like a mean side to her. But just how her life went, and the things she did, I always commend her for it. Of course, I got a bunch of stories on my grandma that I'm not necessarily going to share here, but even me coming down, not necessarily me, but my family coming down. A lot of people ask me why, and it's a definite answer, but it's more than one. But one of the answers that I like to give, because some I just can't give. It just can't. It's like certain things you're just not gonna talk about. But one definite answer that I can give. My dad had a situation, right? So financially he wasn't there for me. Physically he wasn't there for me. He couldn't do it at the time. My sister and brother had came down here for the summertime like we always do. It's me and my mother up in New York. My mother wasn't working. Certain things just couldn't be done, couldn't be taken care of, and it got to a point where I just feel like it just couldn't be taken care of. Things couldn't get paid. We just was in a messed up situation. And my grandma told her, she said, look, you need to go ahead and send their clothes and then send Jermaine down here. And then when you get ready, you come down here. And that's the story. Like I went down there literally the next week, August 30th. I never forget it. That's when I got down here. I'm sorry. No, yeah, August 30th. August 30th was the day I came down here. I left, I'm sorry, August 31st. I left the 30th. But, and I've been down here since then. And then my mother came in December or November, something like that. But that's the type of person my grandmother was. Like she's a savior. Like she wants to keep the family together. She's big on family. To a fault sometimes. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. I've heard some stories, not the greatest. I've heard some stories, not the greatest of people, not the greatest situations, not the greatest decisions being made. But I definitely understand coming from where they come from. It's super important to make sure families stay together. It's super important to make sure that you take care of family. It's super important that you make sure that you forgive family, and you love family, and you be there for family. And I think that she definitely exemplified that throughout her life, like in all facets of life. I never seen her like just shit on a family member. She could talk about you, not like something you're doing, but if you ask her if you need something, she coming through for you. And that's just how she was, right? But when my cousin said it about her being, a savior, and I thought about the lives she saved, and a lot of people that my family went through a lot of trials and tribulations, and my grandma was the person to reel them in and say, yo, you gonna come here, you gonna get some love, And my grandma, and that's the thing, you hear so many crazy stories. They say my grandma wasn't affectionate, and I think it could have been true. I didn't get that from my grandmother. Like my grandma, she hugged me, let me. I like to rub. I like to rub on arms and legs and just like the like thick, nice, fatty parts of people's body. So I've always been that person. So I go sit in the kitchen. My grandma, I like to rub her arm. I just rub it. You know what I'm saying? She's like, get off me. She let me do it though. Like she would let me. Like that was my way of connecting with her. Like I've always been a toucher. But I had to say, I think people be affectionate through different things. And my grandma was one of them people who was definitely affectionate, not through maybe actions like, hey, give me a hug. Hey, I love you. Hey, give me a kiss. You got some people who are going to tell you like, hey, they're going to look you in the eyes. They're going to say, look, I love you and I'm here for you, right? And I think my grandma's way of saying it to people was busting her ass and making sure she got shit done for them. Now, it may not seem as beautiful as, hey, I love you and you mean the world to me, but essentially that's what she was doing. She pulling you out that bad situation. She telling you, I love you. You mean the world to me. You mean more to me than just me taking care of only my kids and making sure they straight. I love family, She might didn't say it, but she exemplified it through a lot of her actions, a lot of things she did for people, And she didn't. And mind you, my grandma didn't always get the best of uh, res- reciprocity with these things. She's been burnt, by family members, and still loved them, still forgave, still looked out, and still cared for family. And I think that's just dope. As far as me and my grandma relationship though, it was just dope. Like she was, I mean, I don't know, she was my baby. She was everything. Um, like from the minute I came down, like I always been close to my grandmother, right? So when I did move out and leave, I worked on Peach Orchard Road, which is like in literally 4 minutes from my grandmother's house. So I went through my breaks. I would get her food. I would eat lunch with her all the time. Anybody that worked at the store I worked at, and that was another dope thing, because everybody that worked at my store worked at, like that was there when I first started for this company. About my grandmother, because my grandma coming in, she would be like, "Hey, you see my grandson?" And she would never say my name. She would say, "Not a handsome guy," and they would always say, "Oh, you talking about Jermaine? You talking about Jermaine? All right, cool." Or sometimes she just pop up in there and I take care of her. I walk around the store. I'll make sure she get this. Like I was real close to my grandmother, right? When she was starting to like not move around or be as mobile, and she'll call me, "Hey, I need some groceries. All right, give me a list." She give me a list. I go to the store. I get it. You know what I'm saying? She give me $20. All right, she give me $20. All right, but she want bread, eggs, more bread, fruit, potatoes, soda, just peppers. I'm sorry, more than $20 of stuff. She gave me 20. Almost like she said, make it enough. I always felt like that. So, and I never complained. I always just took what she gave, and I worked so I can help her and get it for her. And our relationship was so close. And I said this in my episode before, with that she called me so much, and I never picked up on it until I got kind of moved in and had to help her. She called me so much that she had my phone number on paper taped to the phone when I first came to move in with her, right? When we realized we were gonna have to, it was hard. When we realized that she was way worse than we thought, or that she was going through dementia, we moved in. Me and my mom moved in with her, and when I seen the phone, I didn't pick up on it until I was like, damn. So this whole time I'm coming here, she had my phone number on the phone. I never asked her why. I never thought to ask why. But that was why. I think she would forget the number, and she called so much that she just had it on the phone, And yeah, man, like my grandma was a special woman to me, to a lot of people. I mean, she's special to me, so I could just imagine how special she is to somebody else. Now, I will say this, like when she said the savior part, I never looked at my grandma as my savior until today. I never looked at her as that, because I never looked at where I was at, where I could have been, and where I'm at now, and where I've came from. I never looked at it as that. I always look at it like this, something simple, like if I stayed in New York, I could have did X, Y, Z. This would have happened. This would have happened because of X, Y, Z. Or I say I wouldn't have never, my mind would never expanded to the capacity. I'd only had a New York state of mind, or I wouldn't be able to look at things in a different light. I wouldn't have a sense of different perspective, right? That's how I always look at me coming down here. That's how I look at it. And until today when she said that, like, yo, damn. Like I'm one of the people she saved. You never know. Like my brother, my sister, my brother. It's my brother. I can tell this is my brother. My brother was not who he is now. Like he was a trouble. He had behavior issues in school. Just couldn't stop fighting and being bad. That was it. Came ahead did 360. And that's what my grandma doing. My grandma was very tentative with him. My grandma was very patient with him. My grandma wasn't a mother to him. Like he got grandma's touch with her. Turn it around. He started getting like these high grades, start caring about school, loving school, like doing a lot of work, just seems smarter, all honor roll this, honor roll that. This is not even sports related. It's not sports. It's not a basketball. It's just strictly academics, Yeah, man. My grandma was dope, man. She was the truth. Yeah, I think she's a human though. Like, so don't get me wrong, like she had her faults and I'm pretty sure people got their own stories. But the thing about this is, like I said in my last podcast, think about this is like I'm always telling my point of view and my perspective on something. So I can't speak for my cousin. I can speak for my brother. I can, but I can't speak for my sister, my mother. Everybody got a different relationship with her. Mine's and how I view her was just so different because I didn't get the no. I never got yelled at by her. She never hit me, never beat me. Just never said no. I was like, I don't know. We just had that was the relationship we had, you know? Like I was always there for her. She was always there for me. And until the end, you know, until the end. And it was like, it was definitely tough, like seeing the latter part of her life, right? But I could tell you this, the whole time that she's sick, I'm about to be finished. The whole time that she's sick and that she's going through what she's going through, my mindset was always like, I was torn between whether I wanted her to be where she wanted to be or that I want to keep her as long as we could possibly keep her, right? And when it happened, it's one of them things you're like, damn, I would have preferred to keep her as long as we could, right? And it's selfish, right? But it's just an emptiness that you feel. That's emptiness that you got now, right? And hopefully somebody got this far. I know it's kind of boring, but, you know, I'm sorry. I think that, for one, I want to say sorry to all my family members and cousins and stuff that I probably didn't speak to today at the funeral or that. And then if you said something to me and I didn't respond, a lot of time when you hold an emotion in, it's hard to even talk because it'll come out. So a lot of time I was shaking my head or just looking away and, you know, doing this. It's because, you know, I couldn't speak. I wasn't just being, you know, an asshole or just not trying to talk to you. You know, it's just a lot, you know, to process. But the hardest part to me was just the viewing. The first day was the hardest part. Hearing that was hard, but that's something I expect. You know it's coming. Not that soon, but you know it's coming at some point, and you could try to prepare for that. But I don't think you can ever be fully ready for it. And I saw that firsthand. However, the hardest part, like I said, was the viewing, and I tried my best because we had like an hour and some change to do the viewing, and I tried my best to stay away from the casket because it was open, and I didn't want to see her. And all I could see was her arms at first, you know. And then at one point, I'm standing in another section, and I could see a little bit over there. And then towards the end, I thought I would get more time because, like, everybody would leave, and nobody was leaving. You know, black people always got to linger around, right? So at the time, I just waited. I went up there and I looked, and that really, I ain't gonna lie, that really messed me up. That messed me up. It messed me up, and I think I walked right out. Right afterwards, I walked right out, and I went to like the corner, and when I went to the corner, that's when I just really couldn't hold it. I didn't like. I'm not like a whiner or nothing crying, but it was like I just couldn't hold it. I just kept wiping my eyes. I couldn't hold it because it wasn't you know who I knew for one, but then it's real now. You know, even the first day. Like I said, I seen her in the bed. Like she's gone. She's there. It took a while for them to get her out because of all the things we had to go through and paperwork and stuff and all that stuff just to get her out the house. I seen her roll her out the house. All that stuff was hard. But it wasn't until you see somebody in that casket where it make it real, right? Even though she's in the bed, she's not breathing. She's cold. There's no movement. It just didn't feel real until like I see him in the casket dressed up, looking pretty and beautiful. Don't get me wrong, but it's just like damn, like you know, you never think life. I don't know. You just know you don't never. I mean, you expect it, but you don't at the same time. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, we had a good relationship though. Like I was super close to my grandmother. A lot he was though. So like, I'm not gonna say I like you know it was me and her only against the world. No. But a lot of us was. And honestly, like I said, some things is bigger than me. So like my personal opinion on certain things about her and her life and who did this and who did that, that's not, that's not something I can speak on because like I said, it's bigger than me. She mean way too much to way too many people for me to ever like feel like I have the right to say, yo, this person didn't do this person didn't do that. Forget it. It was done, it's done. But I know her life and her legacy would definitely be missed, be remembered, and Um, yeah, man. Shout out to my grandma. You know, shout out to my grandma. But another thinking out loud, man. I ain't gonna hold y'all too much. I want to say that one of the things I think was really sad, sad to say the least. One of the things that's really sad about, when my grandmother passed was just that she was the last of her siblings to go. So imagine that, like you live in life and so you live life long enough to see so many things that you get to see all your siblings pass, and it's just no telling what kind of dreams she was having. Certain things she would say. You had to live there to understand, like just waking up from a nap and asking them, "Did you see my dad? You see my mom?" And like I just knew that when she went to sleep, that's what she saw: her family, people she grew up with, her brothers, her sisters, her mom, her uncles, her aunts, everybody who's deceased, and she's the only one living, right? And she's always say that, like, I want to go home, I want to go home. And in my mind, I always felt like that's what she meant. I felt like she meant, like, I'm ready to go. Because I felt like every time she went to sleep, that's what she saw. And I don't know. I just feel it's just something about that. Like I don't know if I would ever want to. Like you want to live, you want to live, you want to see. Like, but do you want to live? Like, I know 50 Cent got a line in one of his old songs when he was young 50. He was like, I know we all gotta go, but I hate to go fast. But then again, I don't think it'd be fun to stick around and go last. And I always think that line, like that's really crazy because like we gotta go, but like you want to go first or you want to go last? Like you want to go in the middle? Like what you like? What's ideal? What's ideal? It's no ideal way to go, And to have that many siblings, and to be the last one, it's just, I don't know, man. Healthy life though, healthy life. I'm happy for it because I got to have my grandma for a long time. It's funny story on my grandmother, right? I still don't know her real age. Like her obituary says one thing, but I know like it's just part of history too. Is the fact that when they were younger, they had to lie about their age so they can work. So they can say they older so they can work and make money. Because back then day you could work, at a younger age and you just stopped going to school, you started working. So I know that one of the stories she always told was like, well, I had to say I was 2 years or 3 years older so that I could start working, but I really was this age. So I don't know if that's what's true on birth certificate. I don't know what's true I don't know what's true. I don't know what age she is. And she never would tell me. Like, that's the joke we always had. Like, Grandma, what age are you? Are you this? Are you that? And we would joke about it, but she would never answer the question. So I still don't know to this day. I'm assuming the obituary right. I'm gonna go off that, but yeah, man. My grandma just, I don't know. She just was nice. To me, she was nice to me. I can't speak on what she might have been to somebody else. I can only speak on what she was to me. Like I got countless stories of her. Like my cousins always telling me like, "Yo, boo boo, why don't you go ask grandma if you go to McDonald's?" And I go ask her, and she's like, "Okay, cool." Like she never told me no. Like she was like nice. She loved me. She was loving. Like people say, "Oh, my mother got her own story, her own experience." You know what I'm saying? That's her mom though, right? But she may feel like my mom wasn't affectionate enough. I would never pick that up. Did she just kiss you all the time? No, but she always hugged me. Come give me a hug. Always give me a kiss on the cheek. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. She was affectionate to me. Is she like mom? Nah, but she was affectionate to me. I didn't get that vibe from her, right? But everybody got their own story, like I always say. So, I don't know, man. My grandma we just had a good relationship. I remember like her having a friend, and I pop up. I used to pop up all the time. Once she got that friend, I'm popping up every other day. You know what I'm saying? I see a car outside. It's Three's Company now. Now it's Three's Company. I'm a cock block, whatever you want to call it. Anybody just coming to see my grandma. I don't care who you are, how young you might think you are. You might be like 60, 70 years old, but still, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? That was my thing. I go live on Facebook and I ruin their whole day, they date or whatever they were doing. And she don't care. She want me in there. And she never told me, "Oh, you gotta go." No, none of that. Love me. You know what I'm saying? Want me there. Yeah, definitely hard pill to swallow, her not being here no more. You never think about life without your grandparents. You know what's gonna come, but don't think about it. So one of my most fondest memories, I got a bunch, but one of the most fondest memories to me, just something that made me, make me smile, is and my grandma, she's so it's two, cause she kind of old school too. Like one, I'm in high school, and I'm about to go out with my cousins and stuff, and of course we ain't got the money, and she saying she ain't got the money. My sister asked for something, and I asked for something. Talk gonna hate me for this. My sister asked for something, and I asked for something, right? And she said, I ain't got the money. I ain't got the money. I'll get out. I ain't got the money. She comes to me, and she said, hey, come here real quick. You know what I'm saying? So I walk with her. I think she want me to pull something, pick something up. And she give me $20 and stuff in my pocket. And she said, don't tell nobody you got it from me, okay? Of course not. I'm telling them now. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling them now. But, yeah, that was dope just because, I don't know. I just, like, that's the relationship we had. Like, so when people say, oh, you was the favorite. It might be true. I don't know. Because me telling them kind of stories ain't helping my case, right? But that's the relationship we had. Like, we was really tight. We was really close. So, it's just definitely tough to do. But honestly, I feel like because of how strong she was, I gotta be strong. So my grandma was sometimes someone who wouldn't show emotions, and I mean that, like, she happy, she'll smile. She was in a good mood, she'll make it's just face she make like when she feel like, yo, what you got going on, But sad, crying, that wasn't an emotion that she would show. So I feel like me holding some things in, or me trying to be stronger is me exemplifying that, holding it down for her, just being strong for her, which is something I want to do anyway. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I don't know. I wanted to add that part into the video. I don't know why I just did. Like I said, I ain't saying enough for some reason, And I feel like I'm not saying enough because I'm not gonna lie. Part of me just feel like it's something I can't really delve into, to get too deep into. That's how close our relationship was, or how close we was, or tight knit we was. So some things I just don't want to open up about, but definitely want to just tell y'all where I'm at as far as my process, and I'm good. She in a better place. She where she want to be at. I'm not selfish. I would rather have her here, but at the same time, I want to be happy, be in the place she want to be at. I know they're complete up there now, and the saying goes, you don't lose people, you gain angels. So, we go from there, and hopefully, But yeah, that was the last thing. I promise that was it. I ain't got no more.